Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Business Incorporated, coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Chimize Obi Iwago. On the program today, Nigeria's weight in the MSCI Frontier Index increases to 7.9% from 6.5% previously. Barclays to sell shares worth £1.5 billion in Barclays Africa Group, marking another stage in its exit from the continent. Plus, a delegation from the International Monetary Fund is in Democratic Republic of Congo to discuss possible financial aid to counter high inflation and rapid currency depreciation. And let's get started now. We're beginning with the PMI. Nigeria's PMI coming in just today, which shows that the manufacturing index, or what we call purchasing managers index, declined to 54.0 reading in the month of May against a higher 58.9 reading in the previous month of April. And that's according to the latest data released today by investment and securities firm FBN Quest. The report says 4 of the 5 sub-indices measured in the report declined in the month that ended on Wednesday, although central banks' improved sale of foreign exchange into the markets for retail users and importers of raw materials have resulted in a peak of business confidence. The latest report says macroeconomic challenges still persist and household pockets remain squeezed, resulting in soft consumer demand. A reading of 50 of Purchasing Managers Index is neutral. Nigeria has posted 9 negative manufacturing readings since FBN Quest launched its series in April 2013. We'll talk more on that PMI later on the program. And to the markets now, the Nigerian Stock Exchange was smoking hot at intraday, up 2.18%. after the country's weight in the MSCI Frontier Index was increased to 7.9% from 6.5%. And that was after Pakistan was moved from the Frontier Index to MSCI Emerging Markets Index. Now, analysts expect more interest in Nigerian equities as funds tracking the index may increase their weightings. Now, in South Africa, the JSE Index was down 1.22%. The market in Egypt was also in the green, up 1.02%, and Kenya closed up 2.61% on Wednesday. In the Middle East, most stock markets there rose at intraday, with Abu Dhabi's Dana Gas still buoyed by hopes for payments from the Kurdistan regional government. Abu Dhabi's index rebounded 1.16% after falling 1.7% on Wednesday, with First Abu Dhabi Bank advancing 1.4%. Dubai's index was near flat as shares of Damac Properties fell back 2%. They had climbed 3.5% on Wednesday as passive funds flowed in ahead of its inclusion in MSCI's Emerging Markets Index on Thursday. The index was up 0.37% at intraday. Now, Qatar's index was also nearly flat after suffering a 1.6% loss in the prior session. 8 shares rose while the same number declined, but was up 0.39% at intraday. The index has been under pressure since last week's news that Edson Holding, one of the largest listed shares, had received preliminary approval from shareholders to delist. In Saudi Arabia, the index was up 0.07%. Real estate-related shares outperformed, with Saudi real estate up 3.4%. And in Europe, investors have continued to eye oil prices and continued to monitor politics in the region, with UK elections just a week away. Ulrich Bart's DWTV Channels TV financial correspondent joins me now for more from the market. Hello, Ulrich. Now, President Donald Trump is set to announce his decision on a global climate deal later today. Is he likely to spook the market, or will the markets ignore him?
Well, the markets aren't ignoring it, and at the same time, it's not spooking the markets, at least not yet, because consequences are not yet readily visible, but people I talked to today here in the market clearly think that the United States would be harming itself if President Trump went ahead and left the Paris Accord and basically extracted the United States from the technological development, moving towards environment-friendly technology within the next years. Because clearly, everyone I spoke to today on that issue assumes that renewable energies will be moving forward and will be in demand, seeing what China is asking, for example, but also what parts of the United States, like the state of California, are asking for, the EU. And if the United States federal government doesn't support this kind of technology, instead going back to carbon technologies or carbon energy like oil or gas, doing fracking, then it will be left behind. And once Trump leaves office in 4 or perhaps 8 years, if he gets reelected, then there will be a catch-up game to play.
Now is a day for PMI numbers, and the UK manufacturing PMI out today slipped to 56.7 in May. Is the market in Europe concerned about this reading, particularly with the UK election just a week away?
One sees very clearly the connection to the election next week, but it's not hurting the equities market. The FTSE 100 in London, it jumped because the pound went down. The foreign exchange is perhaps a more true guideline for international investors' take on it. And the pound moved down against the euro and the dollar on the news, less confidence out there, as the polls suggest that the Conservatives might miss a majority or even lose the election. And, of course, a weaker pound makes it easier for British exports. So that's the short-term message that the equities market in Great Britain is taking from it. Here in the rest of Europe, the news didn't really have much an effect on the markets at all.
I see. Our ECB is also on the radar. German officials have asked the bank to prepare to unwind its quantitative easing. Do you think Mario Draghi and his team will make a policy shift this time?
I think that he will indicate, he will give some signal that a change will come, but I would doubt that he will make a very clear statement on when it will come, and clearly not on how it will be managed, what the ECB will do. But people who have weighed in on the question, economists watching the ECB and closely monitoring their activities, their past statements, do believe that there will be some kind of a taper tiptoeing, that's how one person called it, mainly giving an indication, yes, we're thinking about it now, and you can expect that we will address it and are thinking about it, but no clear statements yet. The inflation rate in the Eurozone is still too low. The economy is strengthening, but what the ECB is looking at is incomes, and it probably doesn't see enough progress there yet either to warrant a stronger step in that direction.
Well, we'll keep our eyes open and our ears down to hear what the ECB would have to come up with by the time they meet. Thank you very much, Ulrich, for your time.